So this is all in your workbook, okay? So you know, I don't like to use it to go through class and take time with it, but I want you to know there's a lot of valuable stuff there. And so, you know, when we talk about a person's career, their money, their talents, you know, you're going to do this. You're going to look at Saturn, 10th house, of course, the second and its ruler, and Venus and Taurus for resources and money. The sixth and its ruler. Now, if a person has the, let's say, Venus and even Taurus on the 8th house, you got to recognize something, that's other people's money. Okay? That's other people's money. For example, if for example, somebody had their Venus in the 8th house, why is it other people's money? Anybody have any idea? Good for you. Is other people's money. Good. Good for you.
As well, every time you win money in the lottery or in a raffle or whatever, it counts. Every, present is in the 8th.
Good, exactly. Legacies and wills is the 8th house. So if you see somebody has their 8th house Venus, that means that they're going to do well what? Managing other people's money. If it's afflicted, it can bring problems with that, okay? Because if that Venus is catching, if I would be leery of investing with somebody that had a Saturn afflicting to Venus in the 8th house. Why? Because they might be a little selfish with what their intentions are. Saturn tends to be self-motivated and self-interested. And I use, right? Saturn, right? So it could use somebody's other money, okay, for their own benefit and leave that other person without their money. So the point is that you need to be careful when you start looking at those things, but you need to look at all the aspects of that planet, okay? So the thing with this, when we're talking about money, the 7th is the other person, and if this is the mate or the partner, and the other person could be business partner, it could be a marriage partner. This is their money house. This is their right here. So very often, a person with Venus in that will receive money through an inheritance of a partner that passes away, or it could be anything, but it's generally other people's money. Okay, enough of that. So when we're going through the chart, we're kind of looking through space, time, and entertainment, the 5th and its or spare time and space time. Spare time and entertainment, the 5th and its ruler, plus the Sun in Leo gives indications of recreational and entertainment and creative endeavors preferred by that individuals. These also give indications of how much joy and pleasure is derived from living and how one expresses and seeks such enjoyment, career, money, and talents, and all this. So the 10th and its ruler, Saturn, Capricorn for career. Now remember, Capricorn isn't going to always fall in the 10th house, so you need to look in your chart and see where's Capricorn falling. Where's Saturn in the chart? It could be anywhere in the chart. It's got a message, doesn't it? If it's in the 10th, it's giving power to that power, position, authority. Exactly, it gives exactly. And going back to your expression of what if it's exalted? Then Saturn, it could be anywhere in the chart, but it's got power because it's exalted. It could be in Libra, it's very powerful. Okay, even though it's not in its own sign, it's very powerful. So what we need to do is, there's a lot to put together here, isn't there? It can get confusing, and you can say overwhelmed by it, okay? And you say, oh, I could never learn all this. You can't learn it if you tell yourself you can, I guarantee you that, right? But if you're real motivated to learn it, you'll spend hours and days in your lifetime and you'll still never know it all. I don't know it all. My God, I've been doing it for how many years? But yet, every chart I do is a new lesson. It's a new challenge as well, because it's new. I've never seen that person's chart before.
Now, where would you place the ego? Some people have a very strong ego, and I saw that many books speak about Sun and the 10th house. Well, I don't know. Would you say that we can place it at the 10th house?
The thing with the ego, there's kind of two kinds of ego. One is kind of like Leo is more the lord of all. It's the king of the zodiac. It's king or queen, whatever. People have like Leo rising in the chart, and for example, in women, I see it a lot. They have a queenly look. They tend to have a look, an appearance that comes over very kind of noble, you know. If you see Leo rising, Scorpio rising is more subtle. It's more sexual. It's more you know, they attempt to be desirable. I am desirable, Scorpio, right? He's physical, exactly. And it's usually much more secretive as well. I am secretive, Scorpio, right? Nobody's going to really know what's going on in here. The whole point of it is everything is a message in that chart, and it's talking to you. And you're going to start talking and understanding and speaking that chart, and you're going to say, my gosh, how did that come through? Where did that come from? And there are times when I don't know where it comes from. It just comes from me, you know. So, you know, what I want you to do is I want you to start grasping this and right now you have to take piece by piece by piece and start putting it together. Eventually it'll start going together like a puzzle. And instead of looking at it with confusion, you're going to say, wow, look at this cross in this chart. Look at this square here, and what is that doing? And what do you, if a person has Saturn afflictions in their chart very, very often, for example, I'll give you some examples of that. Saturn afflicting Venus. Anybody want to give me an idea what that can do? Saturn afflicting Venus.
Difficulties in the love life.
Very good. It also has a more internal meaning. And that's why the externals are happening that way. See, this is what I want you to grasp. I want you to grasp the internals as within, as above, so below, as within, so without. So if a person has Saturn afflicting Venus, it means that their concept of their own self-attractiveness is somehow marred by Saturn, which is saying you're not pretty. No matter what you did, you could go have plastic surgery and you come out and you corrected something, you think, I'm going to be happy now, I'm beautiful. You wouldn't be. You'd still be looking at yourself with the same face, the same mind that says, I'm not beautiful. You see these people that go through all these surgeries. I mean, I've seen people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on surgery. They're still going back for more because they're never pretty enough. Okay? So if you're self-deprecating all the time, then what's going to happen to your relationships, do you think? You're going to do things like, you're going to say things to your mate like this. Do you really love me? What do you think that did? Whoa. Yeah, what does that plant in that person's mind? Well, maybe I'm not sure I do. Maybe all of a sudden they're going to start thinking about that question. And that can be a fulfillment of a prophecy that they have they've created by having a sense of their own non-worth. Okay? And we all do it. I mean, I said to my wife, I think the other day, she said, I love you so much. I said, I don't know why. I mean, I said that myself, you know, because I think there's a lot more desirable people out there than me. But that's just my own sense of what? Non-worth, okay? We all go through those things. We all have those weaknesses. We all have those times in our life where we don't feel like we should be, you know, we're so special. You see where I'm coming from? So don't be hard on ourselves. We recognize those things and we say, okay, these things can be maybe injurious to us. They can cause problems for us in our life, but we gotta be aware of them. I think that when we see a chart, and by the way, Saturn affliction to Venus in a woman's chart can also cause them to dress in a way that makes them look less than
Black color.
yeah, and maybe
Attractive.
yeah, kind of like
So needy.
yeah, kind of like I don't know how to describe that one. I'm getting off line a little bit here, maybe.
I have a daughter that's the Capricorn, and she has everything gray and black.
Yeah,
She's a beauty, but she doesn't feel that she's beautiful.
yeah,
And the need of the dark color and the black color,
Yeah.
especially, comes from Saturn.
it does. Absolutely, yeah, it really does. Yeah, so, you know, and you can take Mars and then you get the bright reds and you get the, you know, it's a whole different thing. There's so much here. and you're delving into the psychological bearings inside a person that are being affected by this. And they don't realize it. They don't see the connections. They don't see how this particular aspect's producing this in my life, you know. I think that when we're dealing with these energies, these aspects, we still have the basic culture a person lives in. We have the home life that they've been brought up in. I can pretty much tell when a person has evolved above afflictions in their chart when I'm around them for a while, especially if I listen to them. Okay, I'm very perceptive at listening, and I think one of the things with astrologers is we think we need to always be talking. When we're doing charts, we're working with people, but you need to listen well. And very often, you'll hear them speak their own chart. And you'll hear them telling you areas that are of conflict and problems. And it doesn't mean you're looking for them to tell you what's in the chart. It means that they will say things to you that will somehow...
But I read them in the chart, I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know. And anyway, so let's move on a little bit. Let me get out of this. See, this is all in your workbook, so I'm not going to continue with this. I want you to study it, though, okay? This is more of it, how to interpret a chart, okay? It's basically there. It's over and over in there, okay? And these are the parts of the body that are ruled. You need to know those. It'll help you understand where these planets are affecting in a person's life and what they're affecting, okay? That's something too. Elevation gives power to benefic and malefic planets. If you have Mars in the midheaven, it's very powerful and it's very influential in that chart. If it's the sun and moon are ascendant rulers under affliction, that can endanger the health, especially if afflicted by Mars or Saturn. It's in the cardinal signs, again, we've talked about this before, Aries, Libra, Capricorn, and Cancer, those are cardinal signs. Then they tend to be much more physical. The sun rules the back, the heart, the will, and conscious mind. If a person's born with a full moon in a full moon chart, for example, what's that mean in an aspect? Anybody help me? Good, good. Opposition, absolutely. Means the sun and moon are opposed. What do you think? First thing, I'm going to show you some. I'll show you a way to interpret that. They're born with a sun-moon opposition, okay? They're opposed to each other. What do you think's at war in that person's inner self? What do you think that interprets as? I'm going to show you how much you've learned already. Everybody, I want you to think about this a minute. What do you think's going on in that chart? You be last, because I'm afraid you're going to know it. Anybody in here that has a challenge with that? What do you think sun opposition moon is? Okay? What is the key word for the sun? It's, oh, the moon, you mean. You're talking about the moon emotions, right? Yeah, so the sun is, key word of Leo is what? What's Leo's key word? Good. So if they're in war with and opposed to each other, what do you think that interprets as? You said it, basically. You said it. It's the conflict between what? Will and emotions. Good, good. Feelings and will, right? Okay. Now let's take that. We're talking about the heavens within. Right? We're talking about as above, so below, as within, so without. How is that going to translate for you as a reader, reading a chart? How is that going to translate to you to interpretation for that client? They're born with a conflict between will and what? Emotions. What does the moon rule more than anything else?
Emotions.
And what else? Nurturing, the mother, sucking at the breast, right? All that stuff. That's the nurturing. The breast rules what? Cancer, the moon, right? Now, it rules your instinctual need as a child, your childlike needs, to be comforted by food. Ah, so will's opposed to moon. Now what do you think's going to, give me an interpretation now.
The sun, it is the male. They might eat.
What's, slow down.
They might eat too much. They might
Good
be
for
fat.
you, good for you. No control over the will and food, right? Oh, now, my gosh. I'm on the radio and I see this aspect in a chart. And then I see not only these two doing this, but I see Saturn up here doing this. T-cross. What do you think I said to that lady on the air, and she about fell out of her chair, I'm sure, on the other end of the line. She came to me for a reading after the reading on the radio because she said no one could know that on the radio. What did I say to her? You have a great battle and you can't seem to win over weight. Why? Saturn's heavy. Saturn rules heaviness. Saturn rules self-hatred. Saturn rules, I can't win this fight because I will use food. And the will, it never wins against what? The habits. The moon is your habits. The moon is the habit patterns. It's your subconscious mind. It'll never win. Okay? In that cross, it's going to cause problems. She was flabbergasted. This was on a local station. I did a few weeks of it. And she came for a reading and says, how could you know I'm having such a battle? I've been battling weight all my life. Well, you could say, Ron, most people are out here anyway doing that, right? So it doesn't make you a prophet. But it does really, when you do a chart, you'll see things like this. And you'll begin to put it together real quick. As above, so below, as within, so without. You'll say, well, if she's got this aspect, and you don't even have to have her there to know that. You can be on the phone with her. And you'll say, you've got challenges that deal with your emotional needs, are at war with your will. Okay? Does this make sense? Okay? So, okay.
So, a conjunction, would that be considered a affliction or a positive?
Good question. It depends if other planets are afflicting that point. Then it can turn into a conflict. The thing is that very often the sun joined with, what sign is it in, by the way?
I'm talking about Sun conjunct Mars in Virgo.
Sun conjunct Mars in Virgo. That's your chart? You know, what's your ascendant?
Scorpio.
Okay. So there's two planets that rule Scorpio. What are they?
Mars and Pluto.
Mars and Pluto, right? One of the rules that my teacher, who was Percy John Newton in prison, the black man that taught me astrology, got me on the path of this kid that thought he knew so much, thought he was so smart, you know? And I thought this was a pseudoscience. It said so in the dictionary, false pseudoscience. I said, Percy, you don't believe in this stuff, do you? He said, give me your birth date, Ron. Whew. That guy scared me. He knew so much about me. But what I'm saying is, Percy taught me something, and he gave me something. He gave me a simple little rule, and I don't always give it out because I'm afraid it might offend somebody because if they don't have that aspect, okay? But it says someone must have an aspect between their ascendant ruler, the ruler of their ascendant, which is called the destiny planet, and the sun, particularly a good aspect or a square or affliction, to ever amount to much in life. Okay? That's a strong statement, isn't it? You know, the reason is because your destiny planet is your ascendant ruler. In her case, it's Mars and Pluto. Mars I would use a lot because, you know, Pluto is a transcendental planet. It's kind of more, it's almost spiritual. I still see Mars as a very strong ruler of Scorpio, just like Saturn has strong rulership over Aquarius, even though we use a Uranus. The ancients had those as connected, okay? So anyway, back to that. So the reason is your destiny needs some kind of power, some kind of drive, something driving it to make you be successful. And to have your ascendant ruler being driven by that energy of the sun and Mars is powerful. And it's with the sun, the destiny ruler, or with the sun. I'll get that exact quote for you that he wrote to me. How many years ago? Still there, still there, and I've seen it to be very true. Okay, so the moon ascendant ruler under affliction can endanger the health, especially if afflicted by Mars or Saturn, and in the cardinal signs of Aries, Cancer, Libra. The sun rules the back, the heart, the will, and conscious mind. Afflicted, it can bring injury to the back, the heart, and weakens the willpower. If afflicted, one should increase intake of vitamin E and D. What's D called? Sunshine vitamin. You see why you do that? Okay. And that's, remember I told you learn astrology, you're going to learn something else. Biochemistry, you're going to learn about nutrition. You're going to learn a lot of good things, okay? So, okay, there's so much to this. You just spend your lifetime doing it. Mercury afflictions can be offset by B complex and phosphorus. Did you know that the only distinction between a genius and a normal person, their brain, is one thing? The amount of phosphorus they find in it? Did you know that?
I didn't know it. Very interesting.
Well, think about it now. What do you say about somebody that's pretty intelligent? They're what? Bright. You got it, didn't you? You got it already. No, phosphorus, dear. What do we say phosphorus? Phosphorus is what? It ignites, it makes light. It's phosphorescence, okay? It's a chemical that can be ignited into a brilliant light. So the only distinction they ever found in people that are geniuses and people that are not is they have a high degree of phosphorus in there. So eat a lot of pineapple, you get a lot of phosphorus. Okay. So anyway, so you look up your foods, okay? I can't talk about foods with Elena here. She gets on my case too much about it. Huh? Oh, she's going to be on my case now. I share this. See what I mean? She's already ready to back me up against the wall here. What did I do with my glasses? I got them here. Thank you. Yeah, come up here and read. Come here. No, come here and read, Lane. Come. Please do that. Please do that. Okay. Venus rules the kidneys and in somewhat related to our intake of sweets and sugars. When we are out of touch with others due to a lack of affection, we often seek out what? Sugar and sweets to assuage our... What do we give someone we love? Sweets, chocolates. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? I mean, think about all this stuff. It's all Venus stuff, right? One of the main causes of death among people with diabetes, which is an intolerance to sugar, is kidney failure. Isn't that curious? What does Venus rule? You know that already. Rules the kidneys. Can you believe this? These old ancient astrologers putting all this together. Huh? Where were they coming from? So one of the main causes of death. Honey, do you want to share? I wanted to hear from you. I can't share with me. I want to hear your sharing with me. I want to hear.
Oh, no, my husband had bad diabetes, and he was always very bitter about his wife leaving him. And I think I said, you're or negativity, and what you're doing is like you're tearing yourself down. And I think because he would eat the wrong things,
Yeah.
out of a need for more love.
More love. Yeah, yeah. Good for you. You see that. Yeah. Yeah, you know, your women are the nurturers of all of us. You know, you're the, you know, you're. That's what you're here for. But you know, you get guys like me, I don't listen. Yeah, yeah. Venus ruled. Yeah. But think about this. This is ancient stuff. Where did it come from? How did they get this all back together back then? I mean, it amazes me. So, is something burning, honey? One of the main causes of death among people with diabetes is kidney failure, and under the rules of Venus, people with heavy venous afflictions should avoid excessive sugar intake and take vitamin A and copper, which are counteracting the afflictions of this planet. Copper? Yeah, copper too. No, I don't think so. So you're going to have me on copper now. I can preach it, but I don't always practice it. So anyway, the thing is, I know that this is true. I mean, this is absolutely the truth. So, and what is my chart? What do I got? What is my Venus doing in my chart? Huh? It's on a grand cross. Remember I showed you I had my Venus right here rising? And it's opposing my moon, squaring Neptune up here, and Jupiter. Huh? Lucky man, love-wise? I am very... Oh, I'm very blessed. Yeah, I'm blessed.
How do you explain?
Because I'm 75 years old, I've done pretty well, haven't I? Huh? No, no, yeah, she's asking to stay out of this. So,
It says due to a lack of affection. You don't have lack of affection.
no, you're right. That's why I'm still alive. I really believe that. I really believe that. I believe that I'm alive because of her. I think I would have checked out a long time ago without it. I really do. So, and you know, I mean, love overcomes the what? A multitude of sins. That's scripture. See, I got something for all of you. So, okay. All right. So, is this fun? I mean, this really, yeah, honey.
One thing that's funny about the heavy Venus afflictions and avoiding sugar is I have heavy Venus afflictions. And whenever I eat too much sugar, I feel
You feel it?
disgusted. Like I cannot.
Yeah.
Sweets, I like sweets, but I really have to avoid them because
Yeah.
too much, I start feeling really bad mentally and physically.
I do too, but I keep going back for more. So,
It's funny because I never knew that.
yeah.
Kind of strikes a chord.
Yeah. Yeah, Venus afflictions. And the thing with Venus is we're seeking, really just seeking sweets to assuage our need for love. And I think a lot of it is, it's not just that we're looking, you know, to assuage the need for love. You have to realize something with a grand cross in a chart on Venus. Stress in my life is countered somewhat by that need. In other words, I have, when things are stressful, with Venus, maybe it's money, for example, Venus, right? And I'm going through a crisis in terms of earnings. At that point, I may be struggling with that issue, but yet I'll turn to sweets because it comforts me, right? It somehow seems to be a salve for that. Okay, so this is something else. I put in your book, I put this as the different meanings of these planets together. Now, these are basically, they're hard to read because they don't fall on this right. But you have this in the back of your workbook. And this gives you, the nice thing about it gives you indications of what these planets do in terms of their aspecting each other. Whether it's a Saturn and the Sun aspect. Is it in your workbook? It should be towards the back. Maybe it's not. If it isn't, I'll get it for you. It's not there? Really? Okay, I have to make it for you. So, yeah. All this is it was designed kind of for understanding transits. If Saturn's going over your sun, it can limit your vitality. What's your sun? Your life force, right? Okay. It inhibits your self-esteem. What's self-esteem? It's my ego. We talked. You asked a question earlier, and I don't think I really addressed it about ego. There's a difference between ego that's kind of, I don't know how to walk that way, but that kind of, I'm tough and I'm hot and I'm, you've seen that look, that walk, that ego. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a, yeah, maybe they're, yeah, that special thing that they think they're so, the sun rises and sets on their ass, But then there's the true ego, which is the spiritual side, you know what I mean? And it's like what I said earlier. I say in all my emails, I make a little quote in, that the difference between being humiliated and humility. I say it in most all my emails. Humiliation is ego. Humility is the true spirit of love and light. It doesn't get humiliated. It just becomes humble is what I'm looking at. So the difference between humility and between humiliation, ego is humiliated. And so when you find yourself getting humiliated, it's our ego that's involved. That's why it's there. True humility is going to step back and just say, it's like Christ, he would never strike back. He wasn't of that spirit. He was the spirit of love. So the point I'm getting at is that when we talk about ego, the sun in its true sense is the spirit of truth, and I am God in the sense of this true spirit of that. Whereas Saturn is more ego. Saturn is separated alienation. Saturn is, I am separated from you. We're not one. And that's the spirit that causes the most problem. Remember I told you I have a friend that, He's involved with the UFO stuff and everything, and I love him like a brother. He's a beautiful guy. But he's constantly at battle with other people. And I said, send me your birth data, you know, and sure enough, I knew he had Saturn afflictions. I mean, it was totally squaring Venus. Venus is his ability to relate to others. And he's so caustic with people if they disagree with him. He comes down on them. He's very witty and very fast. And his name's Michael Horn, nice guy. But I knew it would be in his chart. That's Saturn, and he's never maintained relationships all his life. Saturn is the accusing spirit. It's squaring Venus. So, you know, people that have Venus and Saturn affliction often are very hard to unite with. Venus wants to unite, wants to merge, wants to be part of you. Venus wants to love you. But with Saturn sitting off at square like that, it's saying, look, get close and now, you know, the barbs of Saturn are going to come out, you know. I'm going to start finding fault with you. I'm going to start accusing you. And he does that all the time. He gets away with it, I guess, but he does it. And I often said to him, I said, you know, if you just be a little softer, you might get more results with people instead of alienating them so much by accusing them. But I knew when I sent first chart, I knew what I was going to get. I could show you the chart later, maybe, if we want to. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. So these are real good for you to look at because they kind of give you a sense of what they're about. Saturn and the Sun, you know, can be ruthless ambition, strong self-esteem. It can be limited vitality because Sun is your vital force. People who have a lot of afflictions to the Sun can have problems with their back, have problems with their heart. They can have low energy. You know, the Sun is the vital forces of the body. That's why I said take vitamin D. What's that called? The sunshine vitamin. You want to get more of that in you, or go out and spend more time in the sun to get that vital force. Ruthless ambition, it can be because Saturn is ambitious. It's going to get to the top. And can be recognition for diligence, practical leaders. But if I can't believe I didn't put that in your book. It's a long list, and I'll give it to you because you can go through all the planetary energies. Did I get everybody's email addresses? I hope I did. Okay. You know what? I can do it in a second if I can find it. And I'll just run them off before you leave. So, is it time to eat, honey? Okay, let's take a break. It's 9:20, and let's grab a bite to eat, and then we'll come back with questions and all. And I'll see if I can find that for you guys.